Folks, welcome back. Folks! Folks! Welcome back. My name is Rudy. You're watching The Cardboard Life. And today, sit back, relax. We're going to have a long conversation as we go through the journey and answer the questions you all have been asking me. And that is, Rudy, will you please do a follow-up video on all the buyouts that started around the Kaladesh, the Scars of Mirrodin, the unbanning, the Mox Opal, the banning of the word Kaladesh. Will you please do a follow-up on what happened to that market? So today, everybody, we're going to take a good amount of time, and we're going to go through, starting with the very last Bronze Era match, the Gathering Box, War of the Spark, and we're going to go through history all the way back to the beginning of Dragon's Maze, Return to Ravnica, and Gate Crash. And we're going to do an update because you all have been messaging me saying, Rudy, there was this huge buyout. We finally had a big Bronze Era repricing, and then nobody's talking about it, and it just disappeared. Did the prices hold? Did everything collapse? Was it a dead cat bounce? Was it bamboozle? Or are prices still going up? And boy, that's an interesting. So I spent a couple hours getting a lot of data, and man, was I surprised by the results. So for those of you who just want to do the thumbs down, make sure if you thumbs down before you leave the video, make sure you say something mean below to help out the algorithm. Is it true the thumbs down helps their video and your YouTube channel more than thumbs up? I've always heard that. So we're going to start. You're going to notice a trend as we go on. So sit back, relax, everybody. We're going to start with the end of the Bronze Era, War of the Spark. Be very straightforward, everybody. There's going to be no bamboozling, no giggities, no memes in this video, no stepsister jokes, no taco jokes, no waffle fries, no Chick-fil-A drive-thru, no memes. Just raw data. And your stepsister. All right, War of the Spark. $125 a box, a lot available. I don't see any major uptick or even breaking the all-time highs of 150. Doing terrible. Just doing terrible. Okay, next. Guilds of Ravnica and Ravnica Allegiance, right before War of the Spark there in the 2018-2019 era. Well, Allegiance, $110 a box, TCG player plus tax. A lot available, no appetite, doing terrible. Absolute terrible. Collector box, investor box. You would have lost money, but you'd just be wasting your time. Guilds of Ravnica, this is where we start. $125 a box. Ooh. Been out of print 6 years. $125 a box. I used to sell this to patrons for $79.99 shipped. I mean, sure, you're up a little bit. Maybe you made 5 to 10% a year, which was the benchmark. But this is the first one I have marked on here. We have thin supply until we actually have. So Guilds of Ravnica is our first set on this video discussion. That if any form of activity, attention, synergy, anything happens with a card or the boxes or anything with Guilds of Ravnica, it has thin market depth. So the pricing can swing very easily by somebody buying literally 10 boxes or more. That's it, 10 boxes or more, and you can reprice that whole market. So that is in the yellow zone. That is definitely in the use caution because that thing can swing at any time. Now we go before that. This is the most kicking one. OG, original gangster, Dominaria. Original Dominaria. $125 a box. That thing peaked at almost 200 before Magic 30 in the bear market crash. How crazy is that? Now, Dominaria, really, really thin market though. So again, if somebody buys more than 10 to 20 boxes, you can swing the needle big time. So be aware on Dominaria. Surprising how bad that one's doing. I thought that one would do a lot better. Now this is where we get to the interesting stuff. Before Dominaria, we go back to Ixalan and Rivals of Ixalan. Rivals of Ixalan. Back to 150 in very, very little. Like if you bought 10 boxes, you could swing the market by 50%. Like next to nothing left in Rivals. That's an interesting one. And then when you go to the one before that, original OG Ixalan, we're about 130s, but again, thin also, where if somebody bought 20 plus boxes, you would reprice the market. So you're going to start noticing a trend here, ladies and gentlemen. The further we go back and we check on all these Bronze Era products, you're going to start noticing that the older it is, the pricing gets more murky. The supply becomes dreadful. And you go further and further back, And you can tell the market and people, number one, are not paying attention to it. Number two, oh, old sealed product, it's not Pokemon, so it's magic, it's garbage because the Wizards' management's shit. And number three, people don't really know what it's worth. Now, of course, some of you are going to argue and be like, well, Rudy, it's listed online and they're sitting for sale and no one's bought it. So clearly, it's worth that price minus some more. So, of course, you're going to have people say that. In my opinion, I don't think anyone understands the true value of this era of Magic. That's all. Let's go further back, Allie. This is where it really starts getting. You better buckle up, Buttercup. Sorry, no memes. Before Ixalan, we go back to the Amonkhet, an Hour of Devastating Your Wallet. Now, Hour of Devastation this one's had a major uptick from the Kaladesh boom. So Hour of Devastation, I know this is crazy, $210 a box plus tax, and literally the market's wiped. I don't even think you can buy 20 boxes online if you want to. So Hour of Devastation, yes, it has lottery cards in it. We do not, I could go on there right now, buy 15 boxes of Hour of Devastation, and they'll be $400 or $500 a box. Now, will that price hold? Will more people bring it to the market? I don't know, because in my experience, this was a product that I did sell and run to the patrons back in 6-7 years ago. And I'll be honest with you, this was the era when I was trying to sell Pokemon XY, Roaring Skies, Evolution boxes for $80. Everybody told me to F off. I tried selling Hour of Devastation boxes for $79, and again, it just didn't sell. Like 3% of the patrons bought them. People didn't like it. I bashed the set because of the lottery cards. You couldn't even read the names. It was a very turbulent time. Now, it's been a long, long time. And I have to admit, Hour of Devastation in 2025 is a very unknown product. Because we truly don't understand. Remember, it did not have a big print run back then. This had Masterpiece cards in Hour of Devastation, similar to... Remember, okay, hold on. We got to back up a little bit. Hour of Devastation, for those of you who weren't around almost 10 years ago on this YouTube channel, I dealt with it at release. I sold it to patrons like I did now. This was years ago. Understand a couple things. Number one, Rivals of Ixalan did so bad, Wizards of the Coast ended and cut it off early while it was in standard. Like, the product wasn't even a year old, and I remember calling the distributors to get a restock and order a batch of it. Like, at the time wasn't that big. My business was smaller, and Alpha Investments was just more of a beta investments, right? And I remember ordering just like a half or a third of a pallet, and it couldn't be filled. And Wizards says, we're not reprinting it, we're not going to kind of repeat the market, it's too weak, and we're just cutting it off early. We can't, it's not even worth the time to do a reprint or anything, we're just cutting it off, nobody wants it. And that was the first time with Hour of Devastation, it's the first time it happened. And the second time I saw that happen was Rivals of Ixalan. It was now keep in mind, this was also the time period where you started having the master sets, the iconic Masters 25, and a lot of turbulence in the bear market had hit Magic. Nothing like we saw in the summer of 2022 and 2023, but this was a minor bear market, and the world of Magic was getting very, very rough. Okay, a lot of stores were shutting down, pre-orders and were just dismal, patrons weren't buying, nobody wanted it. So, I know, isn't it crazy to reflect on this stuff? So, in 2025, Amonkhet's $275 a box on TCG Player, and Hour of Devastating Your Wallet is $210. Now, both of these products have such abysmal supply, I don't know what the value of these products are going to be, even in 3 months, 6 months, or a year. Because literally somebody could take 10 grand and annihilate the market and double the price. Now, if they do that, is the price spikes? Is it going to hold? That brings me to the next thing. Now we go back to Kaladesh and Aether Revolt. Kaladesh, we know the banning pushed the price from about that $300 a box all the way to $1,000. And it turns out people weren't willing to pay that high, and more boxes came to market. The market could not hold the high price of Kaladesh. As of this, it's back to $430 plus tax, so about $450, $460 shipped. Still about 25% higher than pre-Kaladesh banning, but again, it is nowhere near. It was not able to hold the huge buyout after the drama happened with Wizards and saying Kaladesh was racist and we're all bad human beings. Apparently, is this still a thing? Okay. Now, Aether Revolt, very quiet, but ironically, Aether Revolt is like performing better than Kaladesh. It's actually $230 a box plus tax, and the graph and the amount available is actually rougher than Kaladesh. It feels like more people hoarded Kaladesh, and they didn't do that with Aether Revolt. It feels
Like, everybody thought Ixalan, an Hour of Devastating Your Wallet, and Amonkhet was such a bad era, nobody did it. So we're seeing stronger, again, once again, contrarian, evil Rudy, I am not a cat investor. We are seeing products that the market rejects and people did not hoard. We're seeing those product lines outperform the Kaladesh, the War of the Spark, the Guilds and Allegiance, even the Dominaria, which was cut off early also. We're seeing underperforming, rejected products. Like, I'm 10 years on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen. Do you not notice the fucking trend? Look what happened recently. Lord of the Rings Holiday Special, the greatest Black Swan of all time. Now we're going back to the Bronze Era from like 2011 to 2020. And is anybody catching on yet? The rejected products that the internet dumbasses on Reddit, Discord, social media, Facebook, MySpace, Silk Road, and of course, I don't know, Backpage and OnlyFans. These websites are filled with individuals who spend their, do not take advice from people who spend their days putting messages on the internet. Think about that. Do you want to take financial advice in what kind of thing you want to buy or sell as a stock or an investment? Do you want to take advice from people who spend their days not bettering their life, not learning? They are posting their opinions on the internet. Rudy, that's what you do. Quiet in the back. Do you see my point? This is one of these things, just make sure, because historically showing, people on these social media platforms are terribly wrong. Over and over again. Okay. So, as we continue our journey through the Bronze Era, as we get to this older stuff now, shit gets wild. Okay? So now we're leaving the Kaladesh Aether thing. Now we're going before that. Now we hit the Shadows over Innistrad. Eldritch Moon, really? Or the Zendikar? Let's do this. Let's do Zendikar and Oath, because we know those have lottery cards also. So Zendikar and Oath of the Gatewatch. Zendikar $225 a box. Oath of the Gatewatch $155 plus. By the way, friendly reminder, for those of you guys always do stupid things because you're uneducated, these are English boxes. Yes, you can find other languages cheaper than the prices I'm quoting. So Zendikar and Oath of the Gatewatch $225 and $155. I mean, it's nice to see Zendikar $220s. But I think more importantly than the price is there's no market depth. There's literally, these products don't have 20 boxes available. As we get to these older and older products, the liquidity and the supply of, even if you had billions of dollars, these things are just not on the market. And I know some of you are going to say, well, yeah, they're in people's closets and Rudy's closet and Rudy's patron's closet. And then when they go up, like Kaladesh, everybody dumps it. And sometimes that does happen. And other times it doesn't. Scars of Mirrodin, price skyrocketed, didn't come back down. Okay? Eldritch Moon, Shadows over Innistrad. Eldritch Moon, the very first Rudy patron set. $79.99, offered at the end of 2016 when I launched my Patreon. It was 10 years ago. Eldritch Moon, I sold it to you guys for $79.99 shipped, and it's $325 plus tax, and essentially there aren't even 10 boxes on TCG Player, and the price goes to $500 to $1,000 a box. Now, how do you value something like that? How do you determine, and why did Eldritch Moon, out of every set so far except Kaladesh, become, so far, from the Bronze Era of 2020 all the way back, we're back now 6 years for the Bronze Era, from 2020 to 2014-15. The two best performing sets. Number 2 is Eldritch Moon. Number 1 is Kaladesh. How on earth, of all these sets from this era of Magic, how was Eldritch Moon, no lottery cards, no serialized cards, no gimmicks, the second best performing product? These are the things that really make you scratch your head and question everything, because you realize how nobody predicted that. I didn't predict that. The internet would have just laughed at you. If you try to post and ask questions on social media, they'll just ban you or make fun of you. And yet, here we are. Okay? Eldritch Moon, $325 a box, and even if you wanted 3 cases, $18, 6 times 3. $18 of Eldritch Moon English, you couldn't even get it. You couldn't even get it. It is so a bit in Eldritch Moon has gone from 1 to 150 a box from a year ago to over 300s. And the kicker is we are not seeing more supply come to the market and lower the price back down. So unlike Kaladesh, Eldritch Moon is performing more like Scars and Mirrodin, which is we're not talking about Scars much because it's not a Bronze Era product. It was pre RTR Gatecrash Dragon's Base block. So Eldritch Moon, it's crazy. This is a simple example of just there are people out there who really love the product. It was a good set. I actually did a mass box opening on Eldritch Moon. Actually, Eldritch Moon was a set, the box, almost a decade ago. I stood right here, and I took a box of Eldritch Moon, and I poured cereal, Cocoa Puffs in it, and poured milk in it, and I sat here and talked to you guys, and I ate Cocoa Puff cereal out of my Eldritch Moon box that I just finished doing a mass box opening on. I remember that era. It was another era when during Eldritch Moon, everybody got angry and said, don't buy it, because the box are mappable, the packs are mappable, it's all crap, this is the end of Magic. So, friendly reminder, old man Rudy, as you hold my hand and we prancercise together inappropriately in the bathroom, I'm telling you all, we learn a lot from history. We learn a lot about, doesn't matter if you like history or you disagree with it, we learn a lot about history. And that's the most important thing on this channel and why we review the past. We talk about the news. We share these conversations. You don't have to like it. You don't have to like me, but we need to know about the past. Because, again, I don't think any of you out there, I honestly don't believe anyone watching this video would have predicted in the Bronze Era of Magic from 2019 all the way back to 2014, the second best performing product of a standard, we're not talking about master sets or anything, of standard Magic will be Eldritch Moon. This is why we talk about this stuff, because this stuff is not really focused on. People don't do the research. So now we go back again. Now it gets really interesting. Because again, now we go back to what launched this YouTube channel, Khans of Tarkir, in 2016 when Rudy was a Khan. In the very first video that put me viral, and God bless Reddit for putting me as the kicking bag and punching bag and for going viral because of my Khans of Tarkir video a decade ago. That's what put me on the map. And ladies and gentlemen, in the Khans block, we had Khans of Tarkir, Fate Reforged, and Dragons of Tarkir. Now, I did mass box openings on all three of these products. So this was the era I ran my eBay store and had 5,000-6,000 eBay listings, and I was moving. I had a huge system in place. This was, I didn't really think the YouTube thing was a thing. I used my actual brick and mortar store, and we just sold single cards. That's all we did. I used my offices, my restaurants, and my brick and mortar card stores, and honestly, we did local business, and quite frankly, I didn't really sell sealed product. All I did was just sell singles. And then I used eBay, and we did singles and microtransactions. That was the past of, I know, Rudy, I thought you were a billionaire. No, that's actually how it was. It's not as exciting as the internet wants you to believe. It's kind of a lot of boring, long, stressful history here. So this is the kicker that nobody understands right now. In the era of Khans of Tarkir, Fate Reforged, and Dragons of Tarkir, what are the box prices, Rudy? I'm glad you asked, Princess. Khans of Tarkir, $225 a box. Fate, $160 a box. Ooh. Dragons of Tarkir, $235. I'm sorry, what? $235 a box. In the block of Khans, Fate, and Dragons, Tarkir, which, by the way, coming back up in 2025, Dragons of Tarkir has proven to be the best long-term collectible sealed box or investable sealed box, whatever wording you want to use, from the block of Khans, Fate, Dragons. Now, everybody, including this stupid retarded taco right here, the idiot Rudy, right here, including me, I told you all and I predicted Khans of Tarkir. Now again, 10 years ago, if you would have bought Khans of Tarkir for the $80, you still would have tripled your money, or 180, almost tripled your money. It's fine. Not like anybody really lost money. But nobody, including Taco Rudy, would have predicted Dragons of Tarkir outperformed. That's the point of this video. Now,
The next layer 2 of conversation. Fate, cons, and dragons. Even though I gave you those price quotes, the amount of this product left in 2025 is so abysmal. Technically, I don't know if even the prices I gave you are real prices. Because I could end this video, and while it's uploading, I could go online, spend 10 grand, wipe out all 3 of these sets, and turn them all to $500 boxes. Now again, we don't know if the market will hold that price, or if all of a sudden, all these backroom secret sex dungeons will swing around Rudy's bookcase, and it's filled with these boxes and prices tank back down. Now, in my opinion, as we get older like this, I don't think there's a lot out there. I genuinely don't believe that people have closets full of this stuff. I think there's people out there. You guys are watching, you have a box of cons and a box of fate and a box. I'm sure. I have no question of that. But I'm talking about, are there other Rudys out there that have hundreds of boxes of these products? And in my personal opinion, no, I don't think there are. I do not believe there are even 5 people besides me that have over 100 boxes of these sets. I don't even think there's 5 people. That's my attitude with this. So now, how do you value a box that's 10 years old and aging by the month and the year that's already, Dragons of Tarkir. I know we're going back to Tarkir, so that could influence the price this year. But Dragons of Tarkir at $230 a box. Why can't that go to $500 a box? Why can't it be $1,000 a box? Well, Rudy, the cards in the box don't have any value. Nobody cares, Timmy. It's not about that. I can open a box of 4th edition and get $50 worth of cards, and the box is $1,000. I can open a box of Ice Age. A box of Ice Age is $1,200, and the cards in the box may be $100. Maybe it's $200-300 to get lucky. As we discussed, blah blah blah. I'll say it anyways. The older the box, the EV, and the value of the box, the alligator mouth, the spread between sealed and singles becomes further and further apart based on the number of years that she sucks down. Sorry, inappropriate. The number of years that's in between me and you. So, Fate, Dragons, Tarkir, the whole block, there's nothing left in the market. I don't even know if you can get 10 boxes of each one on TCG Player. I don't even know if you can get 10 boxes of Dragons of Tarkir without paying $400, $500, $600 a box. I don't even know if it's possible at this point. So, we go back to the very end, everybody. Theros, born of the gods, and Journey into your X. Journey into Nyx. So now, these very old Greek god sets. Well, I'll give you the prices. Somewhere between $150, maybe $200 a box. I don't even know. The reason I don't know is because I can't even get a firm price on Journey into Nyx or Born of the Gods because the supply and the number of listings is so bad at this point. I can't even really determine what a case would sell for. There are no cases even available for sale. There are some random loose boxes at $140, $180, $280. You can't even buy 5 boxes without the price doubling. These products from this far back, over 10 years ago, it's extremely murky, extremely muddy, and nobody seems to want them. Because there's no real activity on these. There's no quantity for sale, and it's a very bizarre thing. And we end the video on going to the very beginning of the Bronze Era, which is Dragon's Maze, Return to Ravnica. Technically, Return to Ravnica came first, and then, of course, you had your Dragon's Maze and Gate Crash kind of thing. To my surprise, Dragon's Maze is still $100 a box. To my surprise, Gate Crash is actually $140, $150 plus tax. And it actually looks like it's going to go to $200 a box in the coming year or two, and as long as the bull market continues, which is, I guess, better than everybody expected. RTR, about the same thing. So what have we learned? Now, I'm not going before the Bronze Era because the Silver Age is a whole different beast. The Silver Age, you have boxes that don't even exist. You have boxes that have 1 listing online. You have sets in the Silver Age. Silver Age, by the way, is pretty much from 2000 to pretty much the Dragon's Maze Gate Crash block. You have the Scars of Mirrodin, Besiege, the New Phyrexia, the Dark Ascension, the Avacyn, you have the Innistrad. And then before that, you have the Zendikars, the World Awakes, the Rise. You have all of this stuff in the 2000s. The Morning Tides, the Lorewinds. Many people actually today believe the silver age of that Magic product is the true golden age of Magic. There is actually some strange shifting in today's culture where vintage is deemed just overpowered junk by evil investors and Rudy's and his exes. But there's actually a movement in a group of people that believe the true beauty of the golden era of Magic was the 2000s. I'm not sure. There's moments I can agree with that because I look at Morningtide, I look at Lorwyn, I look at original Mirrodin, I look at Dark Steel. Then if you go older, you go back to the Nemesis, the Odyssey, the Apocalypse, the Scourge, then you get into a whole different feel of Magic, where they didn't make overly powerful cards in those sets. They made cards of story and lore, and they weren't super OP, just destructively powerful. It was designed to play the game slower and different. So it gets very complicated very quickly. That's why this video is basically just on Bronze Era Magic, because each era is so different. You can't really cross the streams. Okay? So if you guys want me to do a Silver Age video, we'll talk about it, but that would take that'd be a 30-minute to an hour video. If you want me to readdress something like that, we can do that in the coming months or weeks. Just comment below if you want to actually have an in-depth talk of Silver Age Magic. I just feel like most people don't give a shit. That's all. If you want me to be honest, I'd be very curious in the views on a video like this versus the new release Aether or Drift or the new release of Innistrad, or the attitude changes really quick, which affects the views and what you guys care about, and nobody cares. I don't want to put the time into it. So, moving on to end this video, the Bronze Era Magic was an era that I expanded the Alpha Investment Empire from a normal dude who pretty much had his card store just selling singles to a normal dude with card store that now has multiple locations and office complexes and restaurants, and with the Alpha Investments Internet Empire. And, I came from the Bronze Era, which was my mass box opening time. That's all I did. I mean, I did so many mass box openings in this era. Wait, I didn't cover core sets. Should I cover core sets from Bronze Era? Fuck it, who cares? I didn't cover core sets. Technically, you have specialty sets, like the Master sets, and even the Conspiracies Battle Bonds. I didn't cover those, but we're just stuck with the standard expansions. The Bronze Era is very special to me. I feel like it's a very frowned upon, disappointed era because of the way Wizards did the print run changes. I feel like comparing it to like Pokemon, it's laughed upon. People make fun of it, which again, the data shows if you had just done everything I just said in this video, if you had not listened to me and just bought all Pokemon boxes, obviously your returns and the money you would be making is millions. So that also adds to the bitterness of the Magic Bronze Era, because simply put, it didn't perform. It's not that it did bad, it's just the rates of return were so low. The collectability in today's standards is so low. The price appreciation and the price movement and the liquidity is so low. It doesn't feel good. I guess that's what I'm getting at, ladies and gentlemen. Even though if I grab one of my boxes, or if I grab a case of Dragons of Tarkir and I show it to you guys, say, hey, look, it's a case of Dragons of Tarkir. Even though, I paid at the time for those boxes $76, 4 price increases ago. I paid $76 for a box of Dragons of Tarkir. I sold them to patrons for $79. Even though that today, that $80 box is almost $200, it's over $240 with tax. So it's triple the price. It still doesn't feel good. That's the kicker. Even though that $80 box of Dragons of Tarkir doubled to $160 and then rolled again to $240, it's still, you don't feel good about it. Eldritch Moon. Sure, I paid $76. I sold it for $80. And now it's almost $350 with tax. I mean, 80 rolled to 160, rolled again to 240, rolled again to 320. I mean, what was that 3 rolls, 4 rolls? I mean, but it still doesn't feel good. And I don't know if it's because, the failure of Rudy's Pokemon bathroom, a box of Evolving Skies from Modern Era, or a box of Evolutions from back then was $80 and it went to $1,000. A box of whatever, anything, XY, Base, Flash Fires, Furious, could be anything. And they did so well. It just doesn't feel good. You know, these videos are very strange, and I don't make a lot of these type of videos anymore because they feel weird to me. It's a very difficult thing. I have a very strange relationship with some of these old Magic sets and the conversations, and because while they did well for me at the time in doing mass box openings and selling to patrons, and today they most of them have gone up some amount, it still doesn't feel. We're not proud of it. We don't feel good about these past sets. Does that make sense? Like, none of us feel great about, I don't know, Amonkhet, Rivals of Ixalan. Like, none of us are excited about it. Even though the prices have gone up and we've done well. And I think that's one of the reasons it prevents conversation, prevents YouTube videos from being made, and prevents sell-through rate and excitement and younger people wanting it. It's almost like a forgotten era of Magic now. And I don't know what that means long term. If we're ever going to swing back around, there's going to be a frenzy to buy it. I don't know. You know, obviously the GOAT is sealed Pokemon. It's just, there's nothing that can beat it. But hope you learned something today, folks. Tell me what you think of this video.